And there, maybe scroll down a bit before and there, Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan a message about the progress of the questions. He says, Parliament will probably only process them on Monday, but they process them and then send to respective ministers and institutions. A week later, at 6:002, we're now on the 20th of June, Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan a screenshot from Mr. Malema. And what the screenshot shows is that Mr. Sayed asks Mr. Malema, brother, when are you back? Mr. Malema says, tomorrow. Mr. Sayed says, okay, let's meet tomorrow evening, please, with our general. Mr. Malema says, sharp, and there is an XAP response from Mr. Sayed. General Khan thanks Mr. Malema for setting up the meeting. So thanks Mr. Sayed for setting up the meeting with Mr. Malema. And Mr. Sayed says, you are my brew, no need to thank me. That is the 20th of June. Now, I want to clarify what our issue with that, there's actually a further step before I clarify my concerns about this process. If we go down to 6005, we see at 21 June 2021, which is the day after that screenshot was sent to General Khan, the day on which the meeting was going to happen, Mr. Sayed sends to General Khan a letter to the Minister of Police. That letter is in the exhibit bundle at page 298. And it is on the EFF letterhead. It is addressed to Mr. Bheki Cele, Minister of Police, and it asks the questions about the Minister's relationship with Mr. Tumi Marumutu, who's described as drug lord Tumi Marumutu and crime intelligence matters. It asks those questions in the same terms verbatim as were forwarded to General Khan by Mr. Sayed on the 11th of June. It's the extract bundle, I think it's called. Is it? Annexes bundle.
Got it. The exhibits is fine. There are two sets of exhibit bundles. That's why we were confused, by the way.
And if we look at that question that was posed to the Minister of Police, it is, apart from cleaning up the spelling errors, so a drag lord becomes drug lord and intelligence is spelled correctly, it is verbatim the same as the question that was forwarded to General Khan by Mr. Sayed on the 11th of June.
Does the letter precede or come after the chats? I'm just looking at the dates.
So the letter in draft form that was forwarded from Mr. Sayed to General Khan was forwarded on the 11th of June. The letter itself that was sent to Minister Cele is dated 17 June, and it is provided to General Khan by Mr. Sayed on 21 June, which is the date on which, according to the screenshot, General Khan, Mr. Sayed, and Mr. Malema were going to meet. I want to clarify an issue here. The issue that we as evidence leaders raise with this process is not that General Khan raised questions about the relationship between the Inspector General and an alleged drug dealer. What the issue is that the chats suggest that the primary purpose of General Khan in raising the issues in the way that he did was to trick the then Inspector General of Intelligence, Dr. Dintwe, into lying, so that if he did lie, he could be removed from his position, a position in which he was exercising oversight over General Khan. And if General Khan had been genuinely concerned about the relationship between Dr. Dintwe and Mr. Marumutu, we would have expected him to take the issue up through the appropriate channels. Instead, what he did was he used his relationship with an alleged tobacco smuggler to plant questions to the Inspector General through the EFF in the hope of trapping the Inspector General in a lie to Parliament. That was what his purpose was. There is a secondary concern, and the secondary concern is that this process suggests that something of a quid pro quo was taking place, if we look at the chronology. We've already seen that immediately preceding the exchanges relating to the Inspector General, a day before, literally a day before General Khan formulated his draft question, a message had been communicated by Mr. Sayed to General Khan, ostensibly on behalf of Mr. Malema and apparently asking for the arrest of persons making threats to foreign nationals on behalf of Operation Dudula. That took place on the 10th of June, that message, that series of messages. General Khan on the 11th sends his message suggesting a question to the Inspector General. And while I commend Mr. Malema for his stance against xenophobic lawlessness, the chats suggest that General Khan saw this as an opportunity to use Mr. Malema's position within the EFF to attempt to trick the Inspector General into a lie that may provide a basis for having him removed. So Mr. Malema sends essentially a complaint about a threat of lawless action by Operation Dudula on the 10th and calls for action to be taken. The next day, General Khan writes back with a question for the Inspector General. It has the appearance of a quid pro quo. There is a...
Sorry, what are we to make of the use of a conduit or a third party in these exchanges?
The use of the conduit is problematic in its own right. And if we go further, because there are further concerns about quid pro quo, where the use of the conduit becomes particularly problematic. But it seems to me that that if General Khan is genuinely wanting questions raised in Parliament, he has appropriate means of doing that without using conduits. And certainly if he wants Mr. Malema to post questions, he should be asking Mr. Malema directly. It may be that at this stage he didn't have a line of direct communication to Mr. Malema. That looks to be the case because, as we'll see later, a few months after this, Mr. Sayed gives him contact details for Mr. Malema. But Mr. Sayed's role in all of this is very problematic. Mr. Sayed belongs to a company which, on its own admission, has been engaged in fraudulent and corrupt activity historically, which is alleged to, and tax evasion, and which is alleged to be continuing to do that at the time that this is happening. And he's not an appropriate person for General Khan to be engaging with in relation to matters of this nature, whatever their personal relationship. But I do want to turn to the other issues in relation to quid pro quo, because we've looked at one part of the chronology.
Just Gavin, before you do that, it seems to me that a further issue of concern may be, at least on the face of it, that General Khan may well have obtained the information behind these questions by virtue of his position, and then he's using information that he would have, if there's any truth to what is posed, and which the Inspector General is expected to lie about. There's that possibility that he would have obtained this information by virtue of his position as an intelligence police officer, and then he's using that information inappropriately.
Inspector Baloy, we've been trying to. Inspector Baloy, Commissioner Baloy, we've been trying to locate former Inspector General Dintwe to get a statement to explain this. We haven't yet been able to get a statement from him, but what we have seen is a press report purporting to quote him on this issue. And what he says is that he and General Khan together had a meeting with Mr. Marimutu, in which event what this process would have been about is not about General Khan using his crime intelligence surveillance capacities to find something out about the Inspector General, but actually having had a meeting with the Inspector General and Mr. Marimutu, and hoping that because he wasn't present at the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence when pushed in relation to an issue regarding Mr. Marimutu, the Inspector General would lie. So I'm not sure that your concern is present, but again, we have to get the full story from the former Inspector General, and in due course we hope to do so.
Mr. Housen, it would still be improper. Leave aside the EFF and leave aside what Mr. Sayed does for a living. If General Khan was in this meeting with the Inspector General and Mr. Marimutu, those are crime intelligence issues that are sensitive. They are not to be shared with just anybody, whether they are your friends or acquaintances. Leave aside what they do for a living. Leave aside the political party, just that aspect.
No, I take that absolutely. Commissioner Khumalo.
But Inspector Khumalo.
But there is another serious concern about quid pro quo if we look back at the chronology. We've looked at a process that runs from 10 June, when the Operation Dudula messages are sent, through to 21 June, when the letter to the Minister of Police is sent. In the middle of that process, on the 15th of June, if we go to page 5990, we come to the Santon case number that I have mentioned previously. And there we see that it's now 4 days after General Khan has sent his draft question to the Inspector General, to Mr. Malema through Mr. Sayed. Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan a request from Mr. Malema. And that is at the message on page 5990 at message time 12:07 on the 15th of June, where Mr. Sayed forwards the message, need to know the complaint in case number Santon case 79/07/2019, and says Juju Brew. And General Khan says, okay, thanks. Now, if we go to the next page, General Khan responds very promptly. What he's done is he's got onto the SAPS computerized database of cases, and he sends what looks like a photograph or a screenshot from that database, which identifies who the complainant is in that case. And we see that at the top of 5991. Now, and that screen that we see, which he sends to Mr. Sayed, identifies the complainant as Mr. Ruplal. And Mr. Sayed thanks him for it, and then for good measure, General Khan sends through not only Mr. Ruplal's name, which appears from the screen, but also his address, which wasn't even asked for. Now, Mr. Ruplal was the curator of the VBS Bank. And that case, Santon case 76/07/2019, was a case that he had instituted in relation to frauds concerning the VBS Bank. Now, Mr. Malema has been implicated in the VBS Bank scandal. He is Mr. Matodzi, who pleaded guilty and was sentenced to an effective 15 years of imprisonment for his role in the scandal. He stated in his plea explanation affidavit that in an attempt to buy protection, political protection from the EFF for VBS, when inquiries were starting to be made in relation to VBS, in an attempt to buy political protection from the EFF, he had paid bribes of millions of rands to Mr. Malema and to Mr. Floyd Shivambu in the guise of making donations to the EFF. The relevant extract from the affidavit of Mr. Matodzi is at the exhibit bundle, page 300 to 301. Don't propose to read it because that's been the subject of separate investigations. But what it shows is that Mr. Malema's concern about this case number was because it related to an issue, whether rightly or wrongly someone was implicating him. And getting the name of the complainant in that case was not something to which Mr. Malema was entitled, and was not something which General Khan was entitled to provide, still less the address of the complainant. And happening when it did, in the midst of this exchange in relation to questions to the Inspector General, which General Khan wanted Mr. Malema to organize, it has very much the appearance of a favor in return for a favor, an illegal favor in return for a favor. There is a second strand of the exchanges between Mr. Sayed and General Khan, which involves Mr. Malema. And it starts on the 30th of June at page 6227. And there, General Khan forwards to Mr. Sayed a disciplinary notice that has been addressed to him by the then Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence. And the complaint essentially says that when General Khan was appointed in terms of the delegation that he shared with his friends to show off, he actually exceeded his authority and performed acts that he was not entitled to do, purportedly under that delegation. He sends this and the notice calls for representations from General Khan in relation to the possibility of disciplinary proceedings. It finishes, your response to this letter must reach my office by close of business today, Friday the 30th of July. He sends it to Mr. Sayed. Mr. Sayed's response is at 6228. And he says, "Did you manage to sort it, Brew? Can I send to Juju?" And General Khan says, "Please hold on." In other words, I don't need Mr. Malema, I don't want Mr. Malema to get involved at this stage. That's where matters sit on the 30th of June. The next stage of this process is...
Sorry, is that 30th June? It looks like July?
Sorry, 30th of July. 30th of July. The next stage of this process is on the 2nd of August at straddling pages 6241 and 6242. And there General Khan sends to Mr. Sayed a message which reproduces an article in Afrikaans which shows that the story of disciplinary proceedings or disciplinary action, potential disciplinary action against him has now been leaked. It's being reported in the Afrikaans press. That is on 2 August. The next day, on 3 August, at the foot of 6243, going on to 6244, General Khan sends to Mr. Sayed a photograph. And it's a photograph of Mr. Malema and Mr. Sayed around a dinner table with 2 other people. So if we can go back to the process. 30th of July, there's the disciplinary letter. Mr. Sayed says, "Should I get Mr. Malema involved?" General Khan says no. 2 August, 2 days later, the story has leaked to the press. And the next day, General Khan sends a photograph of Mr. Malema and Mr. Sayed to Mr. Sayed. On the 26th of August, at 6356, Mr. Sayed sends General Khan a contact card for Mr. Malema. So General Khan, one would imagine, one can infer up to this point, was not able to contact Mr. Malema directly, but now General Khan has received Mr. Malema's contact details from Mr. Sayed. On the 5th of December,
Subscribe.